What's going on? This is Kareem from DJbooth.net, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a really quick review video of the brand new Pioneer DDJ-1000 Rekordbox flagship digital DJ controller. So what we have here is the latest iteration of a flagship DJ controller for Rekordbox DJ, produced by Pioneer DJ, and it is one of my favorite DJ controllers to date. And in this review, we're going to break down every single piece and function that you guys see here on the face of the unit, let you guys know about the inputs and outputs, let you know exactly what we did like, what we didn't like, and what can maybe be improved upon for the next iteration of a DDJ-1000 if they ever decide to make one. So, as you guys remember, in the past, they had the DDJ-RB, the DDJ-RR, the DDJ-RX, the RZ, and the RZX, which kind of took the same shape and mold and form factor from their Serato DJ controllers that they made, which is the SB, the SX, the SZ, and so on. And those kind of looked exactly the same as the RR counterparts, and the SBs looked like the same as the RRs as well. And it was basically Pioneer just getting their feet wet into the digital DJ controller realm and what they were going to make their controllers look like. But it seems that now they really have their own footing in the market, and with the introduction of the DDJ-1000 and the DDJ-400, we can see that Rekordbox is trying to set itself apart from the other DJ controllers out there, especially apart from different Serato DJ controllers as well. They made some really good changes that remind their gear now of what their flagship and club standard gear, the DJM and the CDJ series, really looks like. You have the Jog Wheels pulled directly from the flagship CDJs. You have a mixer section in the middle that looks like it's pulled directly from the DJM 900 Nexus 2. And they have a lot of good features here that's starting to set these apart from their Serato DJ counterparts. So a lot of cool improvements, and we're going to break down everything you guys see here, starting first off with the build quality. It's a nice big controller, but it's not as big as the huge Z or SZ and RZ controllers that were made before it. It has a full layout though, and it has 4 channels of mixing goodness right here at your fingertips. It has the full size jog wheels that you guys are used to seeing on flagship digital DJ gear. Lots of inputs and outputs that we'll break down in a second, but build quality is very good. Just like Pioneer DJ quality gear, you have brushed aluminum for the tops of the jog sections, and in the middle you have like an acrylic section for the mixer. That way you have like a cool layout where you can see distinct differences in your decks and in the mixer middle section. For setup, it's really easy. All you have to do is plug in one of your 2 USB cables, and then you have to download the latest and greatest Rekordbox DJ software to your computer, plug your computer in, get your tracks on your computer, and you're pretty much off to the races, and you guys are ready to DJ with the controller here. So it comes bundled with the full out Rekordbox DJ software. If you want to use this with DVS or with timecode records or with time code CDJs, then you're going to have to get that DVS upgrade, or you can just use this in CDJ mode with Rekordbox DJ and with plugging them into your computer as well. So let's put this bad boy on the desk and see everything we have with the DDJ-1000. Alright, so right off the bat we're going to go through all the inputs and outputs. First up, we have the 2 headphone outputs. We have the 1/4 inch and the mini on the front. On the back, from left to right, we have the Master XLR balance outputs. We also have the Master 2 RCA outputs and the Booth balance 1/4 inch outputs. We have a grounding post here for when you use your turntables, and you can use your turntables in phono mode for channels 4 and channel 3 inputs by using the switch, or you can keep them all line inputs by leaving the switch in line mode, and 2 and 1 are just straight line RCA inputs. Next up, you have your dual USBs, A and B, for easy DJ changeovers, or for 2 DJs doing back-to-back or combined sets. And then you have 2 separate microphone inputs. These are the Mic 2 Balanced, which is a 1/4 inch. Then you have the combo socket, which can either be 1/4 inch or it can be XLR. Next up, you have your power cord all the way to the right, and then your power button as well. Alright, so here it is, the Pioneer DDJ-1000. So right here at the bottom, First thing we see here is the Magvel crossfader. This is not the exact Magvel Pro fader that you guys find on the DJ MS9, but it is very, very accurate, very smooth, very sharp cut in, and is perfect for scratching. Really, really good crossfader that we have here. Moving right along, up from that, you'll have your channel selector, so that way you can have either channel go from the A side of the crossfader or the B side of the crossfader, or you can put it in the middle through mode, so that way the crossfader has no bearing on the sound of that channel. Next up, you have your line faders themselves. The line faders feel like the same line faders taken from the DJm-900 Nexus 2. They have a nice stiff throw to them, and they feel really good. They have the locking caps on there, so they're not just going to accidentally come off as well. And they just feel really good. If you're used to those DJm-900 style faders, then you'll be right at home with these. Next up, you have your 4 different cue buttons. These can be used to cue what you have up in your headphones versus what you have in the master. You also have a cue for your sampler, and you also have a sampler volume knob here. And then you also have a cue for your effects and your monitor as well. Next up is your headphone section. You can mix between master or what you have in the cue. And then you also have your headphone level knob here at the bottom. All of these knobs, by the way, have full metal posts underneath, very well built. Feels like real good club style gear here, and this is not going to let you guys down. Moving up from that, you have your color effects section. This is your sound color effect knobs, so that way you can change the parameters for your duck echo, your pitch, noise, or filter. These are very familiar for those people who have a DJm-900. Again, you have all your sound color effects here. And next up, you have your low, mid, and high EQ. These are not full kill EQ, but they are classic style EQs from what you guys know on a DJM mixer. Next up, you have your master level volume knob and your booth monitor volume knob as well. And then at the top, you have your trim knobs. They're a little bit shorter, and they have like a nice rubbery feel to them as well. Next up, you have your microphone section. This can be used for microphone 1 volume, microphone 2 volume, your high and your low EQ for both microphones. You have your off here, so that way you can turn all your microphones off. You have your on, so that way you can turn your microphones on. And then you have your talk over section, so that way you can have your volume of everything else lower while you're actually talking into the microphones. All the way at the top, you have your switches here, so that way you can switch between your live inputs, USB-A port or USB-B port for every singular line. So you can have 2 different DJs playing at the same time with 2 different turntables and with 2 different laptops, and that way they can move back and forth between everything by using these switches here. Your 2 middle levels here are only line inputs only, so you can use different line level inputs, and the 2 outside are used for your phono or line inputs as well. Next, you have nice metering here. You have nice long meters, so that way you can see right where you are in the mix. This is your master meter, and each one of your different channels has their own meter as well. Next up, you have your effects section. This is the beat effects, very, very popular on DJM style mixers, and you'll be right at home here with all of the features they have here as well. You have a small little screen, so that way you can see which different effect you have and the properties of that effect, like the beat length and also the BPM that it's counting. You have your low cut echo, MT delay, spiral, reverb, transform, engine jet, flanger, phaser, pitch, slip roll, Mobius saw, Mobius try. So really cool effects all on board. Everything is post fader effects. You have post fader effects for your line faders and for your cross faders, and they all sound really, really good. This is one of the big pluses of this unit. You'll notice they took out the traditional 3 button and 3 knob effects at the top. I really like this move, because now you're playing on a style of gear that is really conducive to playing on real actual gear that you guys are going to find in most clubs and in most bar setups around the world. It's also a cool way that Pioneer was able to differentiate themselves from the Serato DJ controllers and the Tractor controllers out there by completely removing that top effects section and replacing it with different deck functions that's usually found on high-end Pioneer CDJ and XDJ setups. Next up, we're going to move on to the decks on the left and the right side. These are set up like real decks. They're not mirrored. They're actual copies of each other. So that way you have your pitch sliders and all your cue and play the same place on both of your decks. We'll start all the way at the top. You have your new section here, which is your in and out for your loops and a 4-beat loop and exit button here. It's very easy to use if you guys are familiar with real Pioneer CDJs or XDJs. You have your slip reverse function here, so that way you can fully reverse the track if you hold shift and slip reverse, or you can press slip reverse for a monetary time and it will automatically play back that quick section in reverse, so that way you can do things like beep out curse words and foul language. Next up, you have your quantize button, so that means everything that you guys will do on these pads will be quantized exactly to the beat, or when you turn that off, you can completely freestyle all of the different hot cues and loops that you guys have here. Next up is your slip button, so that way you can make this slip enacted, and that way anything that you guys do when you're in slip mode, such as scratching or hot cue playing, the normal track will still continue to play underneath as you are able to change different things on the fly. Next up, you have your nice oversized load knob. If you double tap this knob, you will have an instant double from the track on the other side. Tapping it one time will load the track into your screen or into that deck that you have selected. You have your deck select button over here on the outsides. These buttons are used to create this deck into 1 or 3 or 2 and 4 on this side. Next up, you have your Jog Wheel Adjust. These are some of my favorite jog wheels that I've ever played and ever used before. You can make them very, very light, or you can make it very, very heavy. So really, really cool adjustments here. I like this feature very, very much because it's very easy to make them feel what you're used to. And you can customize this to make it feel exactly how you want it to feel for your mixing style. The slip button also doubles as a vinyl button, so that way if you want these to act as a regular vinyl at the top, you can do that. Or if you want them to act as a jog wheel, so it only slows down or speeds up the track while you're pressing on the top. Next up, moving right along, you have your shift button here, and you have your memory button, so that way you can call to memory your cues and your loops, and you can also delete them. You have your search forward and backward through the track. You have your cue button, your play and pause buttons, and these feel exactly like what you have on a CDJ. Really, really nice to have these here like this, and they are metal. Next up, you have your long throw pitch slider here, nice and long, just like what you find on your CDJs. It has a little center click feel to it, so that way you know when you're right at the 0. And you have your master tempo button, your beat sync button, key sync button, and key reset. So that way you can easily sync between the two tracks, your keys, and you can reset them back to their normal standard default just by pressing these easy to see and easy to reach buttons right here. Next up, you have your pad section. Really, really cool section here. I like the way that they've implemented the pad mode sections because it's a little bit different than what we're used to finding on different Serato DJ controllers. They're starting to differentiate themselves just a bit. We have the hot cue section first. When you press shift and hot cue, you get the keyboard. Really nice to see this feature here, and very accessible and very, very easy to use. So really cool to use. You have different pages of notes that you guys can choose on the keyboard as well. You can go up and down the octave scale, and it's really cool to have it right here under your hot cue, which is your shift and hot cue, which brings you to keyboard. Then you have your pad effects. Notice how they don't have the effects up top anymore, but you can still use your software effects as well, and they'll all be post fader as well. You have 2 banks of them, FX1 and FX2 pad banks. And we'll do a quick demo of these here. And not only do you have 2 pad banks of them, you also have a whole nother page of pads for each one of your banks. So you can choose a whole lot of effects to put in these pad effects section. So it'd be like you wouldn't miss having those effects that are up here on the top.
Back it up, up, make your mind out of One more time, let me go with it. Let me cry, couple of this shit. People stupid.
Next up, you have your beat jump, so it allows you to easily jump backwards and forwards through your track. And then you have a beat loop when you press shift and beat jump. You get to your beat loop section. Then you have your sampler mode when you press the sample. And then you have a key shift, so you can easily shift through the different keys of the track that you're playing. We'll show you a quick demo of that as well.
Cherry Washington, that's gonna be an enormous scandal. I could have Naomi Campbell.
Still might want me a Stormy Daniels.
Sometimes you gotta bag the boss up.
Next up, you have your page left and right, so that we can go through your different pages of octaves for when you're using key shift, or your different pages of beat loop lengths, or your different pages of beat jump lengths, or your different pad effects lengths, and also the different keyboard keys like we showed you earlier. Next up, we want to show you these really gorgeous looking screens. I don't think the camera is doing it justice right now, but all the way at the top of the screen, you guys will see deck 1 or deck 3 highlighted, so that way you can switch between the two decks. Then you'll see the little artwork for your track all the way at the top. Right underneath that, you get the BPM of the track that you're playing. And then below that, you guys will get a long waveform that you guys can actually see from beginning of the track all the way to the end. I really wish you were able to zoom into this waveform so you can get some real information from the waveform. But as it is, you can only see like the different maybe areas in the track where you have breakdowns or where you have other things. You also get to see your cue points that you have set up, and you will see them all throughout the track, as many as you have listed there. You also see the key of the track, and you can also see where your pitch slider is currently set at. And you can also see what is the value of the tempo range right next to that. And then you can see the time elapsed or the time playing or left to play that you guys have on the track all the way at the bottom. Then you can also see if this is in sync mode, if this is the master, and you can tell exactly where the beat sync is. Next up, you can tell when any one of your tracks are live or actually playing and can be heard, because the whole screen will glow in the middle. Right now we have the volume fader up, but if we turn the volume fader all the way down, you can see that the screen actually gets darker, and you can tell that you're not actually live with whatever's coming out of this deck. So it's on and that's off. We'll go back on here. Next up, you'll see like a 4-beat counter down at the bottom, so that way you can tell right where you are within the 4-beat counts. And then you also have your needle indicator marker, which is one of the best that I've ever seen or used. It has a nice needle marker here that you can tell where your start of the track is or where your last cue point was pressed, and it's very accurate. You can see exactly where you need to be for all your scratching, all your juggles, and I had a really good time using these jog wheels with the screens that is there. It makes a really killer combination. I just wish that maybe we can have a track list showed here, or maybe your playlist or your tracks, so that way you can easily navigate through all your tracks using the actual jog wheels instead of using your computer screen in order to look at everything. But this really took my eyes off of the computer screen, because I was able to see all of the pertinent track information right here that I needed while I'm playing my tracks, while I'm performing. I didn't need to look at the laptop at all. I just wish that they had your track list here or your playlist here, so that way you can really concentrate on using the controller and the screens instead of looking back at your laptop. But this is one of the biggest and best developments that I've seen yet from Pioneer DJ with their DJ controllers, and we hope to find something like this on their new flagship DJ players that are going to come out pretty soon, and we're hoping that they carry over all of the features that we see here on the screens in the DDJ-1000. So in conclusion, the brand new Pioneer DJ DDJ-1000 Rekordbox DJ controller is probably one of my favorite DJ controllers of all time, and one of the main reasons for that is because it has these excellent solid feeling jog wheels. They're perfect for scratching, they're great with weight, they just feel very natural when you're using them, and they're pulled directly from the DJbooth Nexus that we're all very familiar with. And it also has a lot of upgrades with these jog wheels as well, because they have that really cool high resolution screen right in the middle that show you things like waveform, track information. It also shows you where in the waveform your different cue points are located, and it's just very easy to read, very easy to see. Great needle position sensors in there, and they just work really, really well, and they feel great to the touch. Anybody using vinyl or using CDJs in the club is going to feel really at home here with the Jog Wheels on the DDJ-1000. It also has a really good layout, and it shows 3 distinct pieces here. You can see the decks are very different from the middle portion. It's not all jumbled together as one unit. It really feels like you're getting 3 different pieces here. So it really brings you at home and feels like you're using a real flagship DJ setup that is found out there in the clubs with a DJM mixer in the middle and the CDJs on the outside. The mixer in the middle section also has those cool sound color effects, and it has the beat effects pulled directly from the 900 Nexus 2, and it's very, very good to see that they're using something that is on their flagship setups right here in the DJ controller itself. The DDJ-1000 also has dual USB ports for easy back-to-back DJing or changeovers. The DDJ-1000 also has lots of inputs and outputs, and they also have DVS ready inputs here, so that way you can plug in your DJ turntables and use timecode vinyl if you have that DVS upgrade. And it also has dual USB ports for easy DJ changeovers or for back-to-back DJing sets. On the downside, the screens, I wish they had a way that you guys can view more information on the screens. I wish you can zoom into the waveforms, because as it is today, the waveforms are really, really compact, and you can't really see any real detail in the waveforms because it shows the whole track waveform there. And also, the screens don't show any way to go through file navigation. I wish you can go through the navigation sections here on the screen, because I really had fun looking at these screens and using these screens, and I really didn't need to use any other screen if I would have had some way to see my playlist or my songs right here on the screen itself. So for more on the full review, you guys can head on over to www.djbooth.net, and in the search bar you can hit DDJ/1000, and you'll see all of the reviews that we have for this unit here, as well as the unboxing video. And you guys can also go to the website to check out all of our latest news and all of our other reviews that we have here on the channel as well. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe so that way you know exactly when new videos like this one are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.